Well, the team topping the Premier League table is going to be hosting the team that is placed 7th onto the Premier League table right about now. And that is Brighton. It's the team topping the Premier League table, and Man United is placed 7th into this game. And this is the early kickstarter on Saturday, meaning that whatever result comes out of this game, we'll see either Manchester United or Brighton go on top of the Premier League. United topped the Premier League for the first hours, and when Brighton went ahead to play, Brighton came in front, obviously found themselves in a position of obviously dislodging Manchester United from that position. I think Liverpool was the first to dislodge United by putting 2 goals past Ipswich. Then Brighton came in through and really scored 3 past the side of Everton, and it obviously made it 3-0, and they are really on top of the Premier League table with 3 points, but they're really having a goal difference of 3, and United has a goal difference of 1. So welcome to the United Matters channel. How about you guys, and where you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. Smash like button, comment and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rock and David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun, and continue to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. We are left with like 800 subscribers to hit 20,000 subscribers. So guys, continue to subscribe and do the needful. We thank God for the gift of life. The Muslims, we thank Allah for the gift of life. And let's see close to 200 likes marking this video as we talk deeply Manchester United. Now, United played its first game and they won by 1-0 against Fulham. Brighton beat Everton by 3-0, and they really had themselves win that game of football. Now, last season, when Brighton came at Old Trafford, they beat Manchester United by 3-1. And when United went at the Falmer Stadium, where the game of football is going to be played, a stadium that capacitates 31,876 people, United went ahead to beat them by 2-0. It was, I think, Rasmus Højlund and I think Diego Dallo. Diego Dallo and Rasmus Højlund came off the bench and beat the squad. And if I told you to remember, that was the last game of the Premier League. It was the 38th match for the club of Manchester United in the Premier League, as we prepare to obviously go ahead and obviously play against Man City into the final of the FA Cup that we went ahead to win, meaning that those 2 games against Newcastle, Arsenal, those last 3 games against Newcastle, Arsenal and Brighton gave United huge momentum into the final of the FA Cup, and went ahead to obviously win the FA Cup very, very easily. You understand? So that's what went ahead to happen at the club of Manchester United, and everything moved on as planned. So that's what United did to Brighton last time, and the season of Erik ten Hag, he saw himself lose twice against Brighton. At Old Trafford 2-1, at the Falmer Stadium 1-0. And you remember, by the time they had Zirkzee in there for you. But now I think they have a manager called, he's called Fabian Hazel or something of the sort. So he's having a Fabian name onto his name, and he's really the man managing the side of Brighton. Obviously, Brighton brings in managers who really suit their style of play, and is trying to implement it and take it to the next level altogether, to see to it that everything really moves on to the levels that he deserves it to be. That is the man himself, and Erik ten Hag is going to be facing him for the first time in the Premier League. So Brighton really has some huge injuries, and for Manchester United, they don't have very many injuries. And Erik ten Hag spoke, all outlined the injuries and the players that we shouldn't expect to be playing into this fixture as Manchester United takes on the side of Brighton. And these are the players that you shouldn't expect to obviously take part into the game of Manchester United. 1, Tyrell Malacia, Rasmus Højlund, they are not available. Luke Shaw, of course. Lindelof has an issue on his toe. Hopefully he can return quickly, but not available this weekend. That's what we've gone ahead to get him through from Erik ten Hag, not forgetting Lenny Yoro. Now, minus those, all the rest of the players are readily available, and Erik ten Hag has a very huge scope of players to obviously choose from. When we go to Brighton, Solly match. Julio Ensko are out. They're really having any injuries. Bart Verbruggen and Julio both have unspecified injuries. Evan Ferguson is having a foot injury. Estupian is having an ankle injury, and I think that's why they're really working hard to get in this guy. That's why they want to get in this guy called Kadioglu, and they want to break the club record. Tariq Lamptey is also having what we call an injury that is really unspecified. So right now, for the side of Brighton, they really have some close to 6-7 players unavailable, but that doesn't make their squad really vulnerable. But for Manchester United, I think we're having like 3, 4, 5 players out. Rasmus Højlund, Luke Shaw, Lenny Yoro, and Tyrell Malacia. Lindelof. 5 players are really out, and don't expect them to be playing part into this game of football. Now let's go to the predicted starting 11 for the club of Manchester United, as we take on the side known as Brighton. The system that Erik Ten Hag is always going to have to embrace is 4-2-3-1. And no doubt, we are going to be having Onana in goal. There is no doubt about it. Onana is going to be in between the stitches, and he went ahead to obviously keep a clean sheet. And we anticipate him to obviously look better and better and better every time he plays under a very good defense. Then on the right back, I think it's going to be Mazraoui. That is it. Mazraoui is going to come in through and obviously play as the right back for the club of Manchester United. He's one of the best players, and if I told you watched my player ratings, I came up and obviously told you that for me, he was my man of the match. You remember that very well. He was my man of the match. That is Mazraoui. On the left, Amas is available, but I believe the manager is not ready to obviously get him onto the pitch, and that's why he never even made it to the bench when you're playing against Fulham. So there, I think it's going to be Diego Dallo being played as a left back for the club of Manchester United, as we wait for Luke Shaw to obviously come in through and put in a shift after the international break. As Tyrell Malacia will obviously come in through in towards the month of September. So I think by October, we'll be having a left back that is really fully fit to obviously take it on to the next level. Then right-sided centre back, Matthias De Ligt or Harry Maguire. I'm of a view that Erik Ten Hag has interest in starting Matthias De Ligt, but when you're playing away from home and the player is not used to the atmosphere, in the Premier League, I think it will be very, 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 very bad and very betrayal for Erik Ten Hag to drop Harry Maguire into this team, because against Fulham, he really played good and really looked well. So from here, I play Harry Maguire as the right-sided centre-back in there for you, and Lisandro Martinez as the left-sided centre-back. So I'm sorry to put Maguire on the left and Lisandro Martinez onto the right, but it's supposed to be Lisandro Martinez onto the left and Harry Maguire onto the right. But I believe Matthias De Ligt will obviously get some minutes into this game. That's 100% sure. He'll come in through and really get some minutes into this game of football as the manager prepares him to see to it that he obviously debuts as we play against Liverpool at Old Trafford. So that is the back five of Manchester United. It's really gonna look as it looked when you're playing against Fulham. That is, it's not gonna be changed. That is it. And I see no reason for us to obviously change it. Leave it there, and then we'll obviously integrate in other players slowly by slowly. The double pivot, the two midfielders, obviously, it's Casemiro, who is really trying to fight for his position, is really looking good, alongside Kobe Mainoo, who is really fighting to get back to his form, and I believe that's going to be the double pivot. And they are used to one another, and they can read each other like they can read each other like a book, and they complement each other very well. So that is how that our pivot is going to be looking at, as we'll wait for Manuel Ugarte deal to obviously be done and dusted. So that is Kobe Mainoo for you and Casemiro, right? Then after that, we are going to be having Amad Diallo. I think he's going to be retaining his position as a right forward because Ten Hag prefers to play with a right-footed player onto the right attacking side of the midfield. You'd get? That's what Erik Ten Hag prefers to be really doing his job like. So that is Amad Diallo playing onto the right, and we saw that he really had some brilliant moments in there for you. And against Brighton, I believe that Amad is really gonna have more freedom to express himself, as the side of Brighton is really a footballing side. They're really very open, and they'll obviously give him space to operate, right? And I anticipate that he's really gonna destroy them a lot. Though there are some other people who believe that Ten Hag is gonna start Alejandro Garnacho, right? But I believe Garnacho should obviously go ahead and really tussle it out with Marcus Rashford, because I believe Marcus Rashford shouldn't be starting the team of Manchester United because he doesn't give us what Garnacho gives us. And I believe Amad should start on the right and they shouldn't intervene him. And with Garnacho putting in an assist against Fulham, you never know, the manager will be like, let me obviously get him on and let me not start Amad Diallo. But I think for Diallo, they have to start him because he's performing very well, and there is the contract talks, and they want him to extend his contract at the club of Manchester United. And the due course, if a player is performing very well, and you really bench him, he might obviously think otherwise, that if at all I'm performing very well and I'm not being gotten off the field, then why should I obviously renew my contract? With 1 year left on my contract, I think I should leave. That is it. Then on the left, I prefer Garnacho, but Erik Ten Hag is going to be going in for Marcus Rashford. That's a given. And Rashford, by the way, is one of those players that are going to score very many goals against Brighton, right? And he might really use this game to launch himself, that I'm back as Marcus Rashford, whether with an assist or with a goal. You get? Marcus Rashford is really going to use that to obviously launch himself into the mix. So that is Marcus Rashford for you. Obviously, I think his chances are numbered, and Ten Hag is giving him games to obviously show to us that he can really prove him right and really earn back his trust. But the moment he fails, I tell you, we are having options of very many players that can play into that position and really thrive. In the central attack midfield, it's not going to be Mason Mount, it's going to be Bruno Fernandes. You get? It's going to be Bruno Fernandes played as a number 10. And who is leading the line? I don't want to see Mason Mount being played as a false number 9. I think it's high time went ahead, obviously, gate Joshua Zirkzee in there for you and have that focal point to kill off the game immediately. Because when you're having Joshua Zirkzee there, you're 100% sure that he's going to come in through and kill off that game with his being clinical. He had one shot at goal and it crossed the line, meaning that play him for 60 minutes, right, and give him what he deserves. You understand? 60 minutes, and I know he'll get himself a goal, because when you're having Amad cooking on the right, Bruno cooking through the center, Mazrui, Casemiro, selfish Rashford, you never know, might come up and obviously change his mind and say, all right, I've been so selfish, let me try to obviously be a little bit selfless and really release Joshua Zirkzee. And his link-up play is really great because he plays deep, he comes from deep, and by the time you need him in the box, he's obviously readily available, like you saw him in the game of Fulham. That cross came in through, and he had gone ahead to make that run into the 18 box area to really kill it off. That was Joshua Zirkzee for you. So for me, that is my probable starting 11 for the club of Manchester United as we take on Brighton. So Joshua Zirkzee must start. For Brighton, we believe they're going to have still in goal Veltman, Van Henk Dank, and Henslewood. as the back four, Milner, Wafer, and Minte into the midfield three. Then Pedro, Mitoma, and Welbeck are really going to be playing as the front three. Mitoma came back and is looking sharp. Mitoma is looking sharp. I saw him really put Everton to the sword over the weekend, and I was like, oh, Mazraoui needs to obviously tighten his laces, because if he doesn't really tighten his laces, this player might obviously annihilate him and really expose him. But for the player I know in this guy called for the player I know in this guy known as Mazraoui, I tell you, he's really gonna do the needful, and he's really hard to beat. He can really defend very well. His game reading is really great, and we believe he's really gonna stop this guy from obviously doing the due diligence of really getting past him. So that's my probable starting 11. I'm going to obviously read you the probable starting 11 for the side of Brighton. So go into the comment section and tell me what your predictions are. Let's go into the head-to-head stats that have gone ahead to be brought us by Google. Brighton have won 4 of their last 5 Premier League games against Man United, though did lose the most recent meeting to 0 at home on the final day. Yeah, that is it. Went ahead to lose to them mostly, but on the final day went ahead obviously beat them by 2 goals to 0. Secondly, Manchester United have lost 43% of their Premier League meetings, with Brighton 6 out of 4, their highest loss rate against a single opponent in the competition history. Thirdly, none of the 14 Premier League meetings between Brighton and Man United have been drawn, with the Seagulls winning 6 to the Reds 8. Only Manchester United against Wigan 16 have been played more often in the competition without ever finishing level. Then, fourthly, Brighton have lost 4 of their last 5 Premier League games. You get? More than they had in their previous 25 at Amnex. So, they've lost 4 of their last 5 Premier League home games. So, meaning that they're not really sharp. They've won 1 and lost 4. So, that's not really good news for them. Lastly, having beaten Fulham by 1 goal to 0 in their opening match, Manchester United are looking to win both of their first 2 games in the Premier League campaign for the first time since 2017-2018. Oh my God. So, we haven't gone ahead to obviously win a game in like 2 consecutive games at the beginning of the season, like the first 2 games, since 2017-2018. Oh my God, that is really worrying. So this time around, we have to win this game of football, but I believe we'll be that team to beat into that fixture. And now, people are calling, Rokan, what's your prediction? 3-2 win for the club of Manchester United. 3-2 win for the club of Manchester United. That's what I really believe the scoreline is going to be, 3-2. But I believe you're going to collect a win from that side, because we are going at Brighton as a much better side. And Brighton is not the Brighton it was by the time we beat them. They've got ahead to lose, is it Pascal Gross? There is another midfield they've lost to Borussia Dortmund. Is it Grob? They've lost some players, right? And they've lost Dezabi, right? So, Pedro is really deadly. Mitoma is deadly. But I tell you, United is United. We're really having a very good team that can obviously do the due diligence when it comes to defending. And they can also come up and obviously put in a required shift altogether to obviously break that opponent. Ten Hag might be stubborn to start with the false number 9 and also get Joshua Zirkzee off the bench this time earlier to play in like 40 minutes. You understand? But I don't really like it, though I see it happening, because Mason Mount went ahead obviously have a lot of pressure points. He pressed a lot, and those press counters resulted into us winning the most number of upfront all final third balls in match day 1. Not him really won many than Manchester United. So Ten Hag would be like, let me reward Mason Mount and see whether he can obviously come to pass and obviously put in a shift. But I wouldn't like to see him start. That's why into my starting 11, I'm not putting him there. So that is my probable starting 11. You can as well go into the comment section and tell me what your probable starting 11 is. Rokan David is my name. I sign out for now. See you later. And may the living to God bless you abundantly. For the Muslims, Barakallahu fikum, and may Allah bless you abundantly. Tomorrow is Friday and Juma Kareem to you all. We out. Bye-bye.